Hello and welcome to an early edition of the Wingscape Podcast. I am Matt Moody, joined by DJ Mitchell, as we go through the Thursday, January 29th, 15-game slate. Let's dive on in.
You're saying they're looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.
DJ, we have 15 games. I wrote about Tuesday on my newsletter. What do you have to say about the Tuesday slate?
I overthought it, overcomplicated it, and ended up not getting in what I wanted and losing money. So that's about all I got to say about that.
I played perfectly. I lost again.
I think, your lineup was better than mine.
I wrote about it.
I will.
You should check that out.
I played two lineups that both had some good players in it around just absolute, shit. I played one lineup was good, that was bad. The good lineup got by Florida too, so I went and fucked myself. And then I would have had a good betting night if I didn't bet Trevor Moore like an absolute fucking idiot. And you warned me. You said, dude, really? And I'm like, well, at first I had Drew O'Connor in there. You're like, you need to get a fucking grip on reality. And I was like, that's right. And then I went to Trevor Moore. You're like, I guess there's no saving you tonight. I was like, no. And then like everything else hit. And I'm like, why did Trevor Moore shoot? Idiot.
Yeah, no. Well, you see, DJ, he had 8 shot attempts in his one game. So he's guaranteed to get 2 in this game. That's math. Because when you look at fucking...
I'm a sucker.
Use your fucking brain. All right. We have 15 games. We really do need to get moving. Even more so than usual. We have a hard out. I have stuff to do that is not talk about 15 fucking games on a slate that I'm just going to lose my ass at. So here they are.
I will say, as we kick it off here, I'll do the quickest of overviews because I'm certainly not going to name a player that played on both teams in every game. The 341, if you have tickets for the World Championship of Hockey, like myself, I have one of them. It's already, I believe, 20 of 69 full. Something in that range as we record. Kind of the same thing happened with the $25 where like a ton of people flooded in and then no one entered, but it did fill in the end. 18 to 69 right now for that that contest. So if you have a ticket, I don't know if there's another chance to use it this year. It's good next year too, but
there will be many chances. Do not worry.
Okay. So with all that out of the way, huge slate, lots of red, and lots of green because it's Christmas colored, I guess, because there's not as much volume as you would like to see for shot volume, and the goals are still happening in waves. But all of those goals come through defensemen now. That's just the nature of what we're dealing with. Hat trick for Rasmus Dahlin. I believe it was on What Chaos today I was listening to that they said that there's like 5 defensemen or 4 defensemen that have hat tricks this year, and there's only 1 last year and the entire season. It's been a donkey fest out there. For this month. That may have been a mistake. Yeah, I don't know. I was half working at the same time. I actually had a little free time to listen to something today, so of course filled my brain with hockey.
Yeah, I included that tweet in my newsletter. I think it was like Opta Sports or something. It was like the first calendar month in NHL history where 4 defensemen have tallied a hat trick, and it was Radish earlier this month. Ekholm, Bouchard, and Dahlin.
Yep.
So
lots of fun out there.
Goat's gonna go.
I think the first game has 2 really interesting defensemen to get to. So I don't really, again, I'm not going to list off all 15 games. We're going to talk about all 15 of them. I promise.
Just spotlighting a few spots. Edmonton hosting San Jose. Anaheim heading into Vancouver. I expect heavy ownership on both of those games. Pittsburgh hosting Chicago. We'll see what Pittsburgh does with their lineup. We'll talk about that when we get there, but no Brian Rust. I'm not positive there'll be significant ownership depending on how they divvy up their lines and power plays and whatnot. And I think that's about it as far as spots where I'm expecting, substantial ownership to come in. 15 games, ownership almost doesn't matter. McKinnon plays, but it's on the road back-to-back against Montreal, and I'm not positive they'll have a massive team total or anything, so I think McDavid will clearly take the cake at center. if you're spending up. So that's sort of the incredibly high level moods overview. Now let's get on into the specifics. We'll work through game by game. Uh, Obviously, this being a 7 p.m. show and us not just doing this full time, I do not have every single thing updated from the Tuesday slate. There wasn't a ton of information that I saw on Wednesday. I looked in a few key spots or spots that I haven't seen in a while, and grabbed what I could. But just as always, make sure you're using my Twitter lists at Fake Moods on Twitter, checking those lines in the morning for yourself, or using a daily face off or roto grinders, stochastic, so on and so on, to just double check your stacks and whatnot, because obviously these are subject to change and they may not even be perfect at the current moment. Anyway, talk to me about Nashville here as they head into New Jersey. You muted yourself, you fool.
It's a 5.5, minus 130 on that over. New Jersey, a minus 142 home favorite against a Nashville team that's been very interesting in DFS and kind of doing the opposite of most teams, which is underperform their expecteds. O'Reilly, Forsberg, Evangelista have been very, very good. They're pretty much on par. Roman Yossi's been great, and Steven Stamkos has really emerged as like one of the more prolific goal scorers in the league again, at least as of the past couple months. So there's a lot to like here. The Devils are pretty bad. They just seem to give up goals in bunches, even to teams like Winnipeg who can't score. They found a way against New Jersey. So I think this is an interesting spot where if rubber meets the road, there's a ton of upside. You pull up the last 5 games, you look at who's shooting on a 15-game slate, and 2 of the top 6 are on Nashville in Forsberg and Josi. Just massive, massive upside, double bonus, triple bonus type stuff from 2 players. Doesn't exist all that much this time of year when there's so many games on very, very short order. So I like Nashville. I liked them last slate. I didn't end up going to it. This time I really might. I don't think it's going to be very popular. That's not a very high team total. So, if you just catch the right glimpse of them, it might be something. But does this matchup concern you at all?
No, doesn't concern me. I've been pretty in on the Nashville way that they're playing lately. The prices might be the reason I don't get there. It was much more fun. We had like a 3,800 Evangelista and whatnot to play around with, but 7K on Forsberg, 7K on Josi makes it a little bit difficult. I do think if I'm playing Nashville, I want to try and mix in Marchessault. Once again, he played upwards of 17, 18 minutes. He's mostly playing in the bottom 6 role, but he's shooting. Again, he's just a really cheap option in a way that I think he's more productive than Eric Howell or Michael Bunting, and I think that he could get shifts with the main guys. So that's really, and even as a one-off, I think Marchessault is pretty interesting as well. He just looks
6
like
shot attempts last game, 17 minutes, and was actually scored, but was out there for the power play goal over Evangelista. Evangelista definitely got the first power play, but Marchessault was on the ice with Forsberg, Josi, O'Reilly, and Stamkos when the goal happened. So that role could change. Something to keep an eye on for sure. I think definitely one-off material Marchessault makes a ton of sense here.
Yeah.
And if they continue to kind of look at that, 30 minutes for Josi, but they've had 7 defensemen. They only played 3 minutes of Svechkov. He may have gotten hurt. Maybe got benched. I don't know. So again, lots of minutes for the top guys. They're in desperation mode already.
Yeah, they're playing pretty well, and again, like you're saying, they're desperate. They're really loading up minutes on the main guys. So I like that aspect. You head over to New Jersey. I did not update this. I believe Cody Glass got injured last game. I did not check in on what transpired there, but obviously they just lost. So these all could change. We don't have any lines or anything. So last game it was Timo, Hughes, Bratt, Gritsuk, Hall, or Gritsuk, Glass, Heminaho. Cool. Heischer, Mercer. I don't even know who played with Heischer last game with no Palat. But yeah, they're selling Palat. I don't know what they're gonna do, but
they sold Palat.
Well, yeah, what is that for? They didn't do it in time to get Quinn Hughes. So what the fuck is their plan?
Bratt, Heischer, Timo, and then Hughes, Mercer, Dadonov. and then Glass and Glendenning
That's
played
right. It was
a
fucking
combined 12
yep.
minutes.
Yep.
Potter
Yeah,
played. Did Glass get hurt? Why do I feel like
yeah,
yeah,
Glass
he
got
played
hurt.
today.
Yep.
Ooh, revenge narrative too. Tough. It's a mess in New Jersey, in case you're wondering. Dougie
Yep.
Hamilton, 23 minutes, power play 1 with paired with Nemec. So that is, I guess, a guy. I'm not playing New Jersey. I mean, they're
Yeah,
expensive. It's been bad. There's nothing here that I'm really. I mean, like it's Dougie or nothing. Like no matter what, if you're playing New Jersey, just circle Dougie Hamilton. He has a point in like 12 straight games, and he's shooting and like kind of doing
Dougie's
everything here.
good.
But
Jesper Bratt is bad. Jack Hughes is fine. Timo just isn't scoring. It happens. Yeah, I'm not particularly interested in whatever's going on here with the Donov. Like it's if Cody Glass doesn't play, I'm not playing anyone from New Jersey. I'll just put it to you that way. And that the only reason that is because Glass and Gritzuk refuse to get priced up. They've been playing really well together. Hemi Naho's come in and done stuff, but I'm good to move on.
He played 16 minutes. I don't know. I mean, that's where we're at. You know what I mean? Like Hemi Naho is playing 16 minutes. Good for them. The next game, probably we'll try to get through this one pretty quickly. Philly on a back-to-back. It's a bit of a scattering of who you would want to play. Michkov's playing really, really well as of late, but it's kind of hard to fall in love with the role. It's just easy to fall in love with the player at 4,100. So he's of note, but it just feels kind of thin. I like the lineup. I mean, the thing about Michkov is, even though he's power play too, even though he's on the third line, it's with Cates and Brink, and they're just playing Cates and Brink. Like those guys are getting their time on the ice. So I don't mind it. I don't think I'm going all the way to the top and playing connecting Dvorak, Zegras. I would understand someone that did. It is a very middle tier stack, but it's middle tier price because it's middle tier output. Like these guys are not shooting a ton, and they're just not getting points in bunches together. So for all these reasons, I think I'm out.
They've been playing pretty terribly. Like they're not going to play Michkov. So on a 3-game slate, I'm fucking jamming in Michkov once again because I like Payne and he's actually really good and whatever. On a 15-game slate, like just don't. You're fine.
I actually think Marcus is just a better play straight up.
Yep, that would make sense. Otherwise, Tippett, I guess, has been the most productive guy. Their power play with Tippett and Michkov looked super functional last game. The connecting unit did not, which, by the way, I think someone swapped onto it. Someone bad, but don't worry about the defense. That power play is not correct. It could change once again. But the forwards, you're pretty much playing the top line. That's all power play 1 correlated, or the second power play with Tippett and Michkov, in my opinion. I think it's Cates. I mean, it might be Brink on the top unit, whatever. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. On the road, no Vladar because he's playing on Wednesday night. So Sam Emerson should get the net, which leads us to Boston. Boston, did they go to overtime?
Yeah,
they won in overtime.
Like immediately, though. Pasta, I believe, in OT.
Okay. Well,
sent them home.
Yeah, 15 seconds in. Nice. Top line loaded up. Last game, Geeky Lindholm Pasta. Lindholm got hurt, so stay tuned. Right? He's no update as far as I'm aware. Middle stat: Zaka Arvidsson, Steves Minton, Kuznetsov. What does that mean? Zaka's just slid up to the top line, or did they move Minton up there? Well, let's check that. Otherwise, it's pasta or nothing for me. Like that's
it was Minton.
Okay.
Minton,
did we get a power play?
PG.
We did not get a power play.
No, we did not get a power play.
Okay. So,
I mean, Minton's is going to see some level of power play time, so he is 3K.
Yeah, and we just simply don't know the status of Lindholm, I'm pretty sure. So check on that. If he's out, Minton gets a clear upgrade. I would only play Minton with Pasternak, though. It's not like I'm trying to sneak a punt through without playing Pasta. It just doesn't make sense. Pasternak shoots more than anyone in the fucking league besides Nate McKinnon. Like, you just are preloaded with 15 points if Minton in any way gets there, and if Minton becomes a close to have it piece at 3K, Pasta scoring 30. Like, you don't need to worry about that. Defensively, Mason Lowry 2,700 is interesting to me. He played 19. No, he played 15 minutes last game.
15,
Never mind.
yeah.
I got tricked by Hampus Lindholm moving on to his line on HockeyViz for some reason.
Zadorov came back, so it was like, McAvoy, Zadorov, Lindholm, and then everybody else kind of scattered throughout. And then he gets good minutes, you know what I mean? But they're not enough. Like, he's good at play offense when they need him. Like, Zadorov's not taking a bunch of ozone draws, but unfortunately, yeah, that's just the way the news goes. So I don't mind Boston. I think they're totally fine. I just honestly, it's like, yeah, there's a nice punt in here maybe, but kind of like natural.
The Kings.
So
the Kings head into Buffalo. I believe we will get Kopitar back. Wow, DJ.
2 points.
What is? I mean, they're playing Buffalo, so they're going to lose. That's just the yeah. All right, yeah, I'm looking. I don't see anything. I mean, sorry, what?
About Kopitar?
What about Kopitar?
What are you looking for?
No, I'm saying, like, there's no confirmation that he is going to play. But that's something to look out for. They just beat Detroit pretty handily, so I'm not expecting major changes unless it is the availability of Kopitar. But I don't know what would happen in that case, because Kempe, Laferriere seem pretty entrenched, and I think they need Laferriere down the middle right now because they're playing Joel Armia at center. So it's like, I'm pretty sure there's a chance. I guess we could see Laferriere slide down to Fiala, Kuzmenko, and Kopitar, Kempe, Perry. But yeah, they're playing the fucking Sabres, and the Sabres are an absolute buzzsaw right now. Like, Toronto scored 4 goals, but that felt like a miracle. I don't know. At some point, they're just like playing well, and LA not so much.
Yeah, I mean, this game is just interesting, really, on either side to me all that much. Like, this version of the LA Kings is very defensive minded, in my opinion, and the way they're kind of scattering the offense throughout is not interesting for DFS to me. And I do think there's something to the top line kind of just not getting there over and over again, even though the expecteds are really good. That well could snap at any moment, but a team that was mainly, their best expected goals guy in that Red Wings game was Warren Fogle, who had 4 shots on goal, like 7 shots. Like, that's not a good sign when all the other guys were pretty limited. So I'm not going to LA. I don't think there's much to cover here. Things could change, but those changes don't make it any more interesting. Like, Kopitar isn't a prolific fantasy asset. He's a solid player that helps them add center depth that they desperately need. But is there one player on this team you feel is like a must-have? Like, you're like, again, gun to head, you have to play LA. Like, I guess you're playing Kempe, but like, that doesn't even feel like incredibly, like, you know what I mean? Like, I would think it's the top line, but I think you can make a case that you could punt with this team, and like, I don't know. Buffalo's a buzzsaw, and I think LA is just better than people give them credit for. Yeah, Detroit had some shot volume, but there wasn't a lot of danger in that shot until the very, very, very end when the game was basically in hand. I think this game's kind of a full fade for me, but I'd like to hear your opinion on the Sabres.
The Sabres are the best team in the world. Next question. I mean, Corey Perry is playing 17 minutes for LA, so yeah, hurry back, Anze, but there's no guarantee that he will be back. Buffalo, Rasmus Dahlin scored a hat trick. I think there was a time maybe a month or two ago, I guaranteed a Dahlin goal, and he scored that same night while we were recording. And I think of that because I was like, well, Dahlin's getting super unlucky with his shooting percentage, and he's generating really good chances for a defenseman. He's going to score. And then he scores a hat trick a month later on the biggest slate of 2026 to date. And I Not even close. I played Jacob Chikrin instead. That was great. Everyone's having a great old time. Um, and for the Sabres, it's just Tage right now, who's really reliably doing things. I think Jack Quinn is in the mix. He's a little bit cheaper than Michkov. They feel pretty similar to me, but Jack Quinn doesn't have like the nuclear ceiling that I believe Michkov has, and Quinn has slightly more, I guess, consistency with his role and output. But if you're looking for 15 minutes at 3,400 of quality offensive play, Jack Quinn's your guy. I don't necessarily think you want to pair him with a Tage or Dalian or whatever. Like that seems sort of separate, but that's the two guys that I have in mind. Josh Stone popped off last game, a goal, 5 shots, and I think 2 blocks as well. So almost the double bonus there. But 4,900 for what he's put up is just really tough to make ends meet. And Osland and Hellenius are just as thin as it gets as plays. So it's just Tage, it's just spending up, and honestly, I think you want to spend up elsewhere on this slate.
Yep. I don't know when I cut out and my internet decided to be shit, but yeah, not that interested in this game. Not really interested in spending all my cap on the Sabres. I mean, not playing Darlene on Tuesday is something I'm kicking myself for because I was really trying to build the game stack. I couldn't make it work right. But I think I was so like, you're playing Darlene no matter what. Like he is such an engine on this team, and like I'm at 3% on that slate and a 6.5. I'm just kicking myself for not considering that more. But we move on. I'm not playing the Sabres. I am the homer, so take that for what it's worth. And we get to a very, very tough matchup. Utah, 3 games in 4 days at Carolina, coming off a pretty impressive win against Florida on a back-to-back. But this is a tough, tough, tough hill to climb, especially if they don't have Dylan Guenther. Is that likely the case?
Not a clue. We don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not watching the coach. Maybe he said something in his 4-minute post gamer, but yeah, I'm guessing Gunther's gonna be back soon, given there was no inkling that he was hurt before the Florida game. But does that mean it's this game? I don't know. Um, Keller, Schmaltz, Kraus. Kraus was healthy, did play. Paterka, Hayton, Boot. Carconi, McBain, Yamamoto. It was replacing Gunther. So that's a yikes from me if it's truly Yamamoto there once again. But yeah, Carolina's not necessarily brimming with offensive potential down the lineup, in my opinion. So there's not a ton that I want to really do with that information. Sean Dursey seemed fine. We talked on Monday night for Tuesday about how he got hurt late Monday. He played on Tuesday, normal shift and whatnot. So I expect him to be fine. Not to say that's super relevant again because it's a matchup with Carolina, but yeah, there's nothing here that I want to really click on.
No, there really isn't. I mean, it was Paterka, Hayton, Keller, Schmaltz, Sergachev on the top power play. McBain got a little bit of run that top power play over with Hayton. Like, kind of that was the first guy swapped out. So I don't know. I guess there's a cheap stack that has power play 1 upside if Gunther isn't in, but that upside is pretty immediately limited by Carolina, I think. So yeah, it's going to be a no from me.
Heaton
keep an eye on
had
Gunther, but...
earned, yeah, Heaton had earned the power play. Well, I mean, earned, I don't know, but Heaton had been playing power play 1 over Paterka recently. 10.1 expected fantasy points per game last 10. I could see a world where you play that, especially if Gunther's out. Hayton Paterka is 7,600. I kind of think Paterka is bad, but you know, it is what it is. Paterka, if he gets chances, can score, and it's just a matter of 1% against Carolina. You need to roll the dice. So that's the one thought that I have here, but I'm not spending up on Keller Schmaltz, no matter how good Keller's been in the last little bit.
Okay, let's move
on
over
the
to
Carolina side.
Carolina.
The big news: Shane Gostisbehere looks likely to return. He immediately steps into the power play 1. He's 5,300. He has been excellent all season long. 68% better DK point rate versus the league average defenseman. Like, this is truly elite stuff from him. Just going over to Cale Makar, for example, he's at 81% better than the average defenseman. Now, Gostisbehere is most limited to 18, 19, maybe 20 minutes in a night, so it's not quite Cale Makar 27 minutes type stuff. But he is very efficient, very productive, and he does elevate the power play in a big way. That power play, Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, all on the top line, all fully correlated. Jordan Stahl and Nick Ehlers sort of swap off. They are paired with Martinuk at 5-on-5, and then Hall, Stankoven, and Blake will play secondary minutes and power play too. So if you are trying to pick on the Kyler Yamamoto of it all, Hall, Stankoven, and Blake probably is the beneficiary there. 11.5K for 25 expected fantasy points and 24 actual. It's not the end of the world, but I feel like in decent matchups, that line tends to be 5-6% owned, and I don't really like doing that. I'd rather be, if I'm right, I would like to not also have to get another stack right to sort of, make my way to the top. And I don't think that stack really does it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like targeting teams that are on these 3 and 4 on the road. Like, that's something that does actually like make me think. But I'm also a staunch believer in I'd like to see Carolina bury me once before I start to play them. I mean, they're still expensive. Yeah. This is again, pulling up the sheet here. Like, Carolina looks like a decent matchup. I mean, the goals look good, but this is not nearly as good of a matchup as normal for Carolina with the way they're able to control puck possession and pace in a game. I just don't think it's going to end up making the mark for me. There's a few spots I like more than it, but this is a good on paper matchup and a good game. And I don't think there's anything crazy about playing Jarvis, Svechnikov, Aho, other than the fact that it is 19, 20K, 20K. And I would really, really, really like to get Gostisbehere in with that. He's 5,300. So yeah. It's tough. It just gets really, really tough to build a good lineup that feels like it has enough upside when they have not shown the ceiling high enough to support that price tag. So it's going to be a no from me, but a at the very least, a considered no.
Yeah, I would say if you're going to try and build a game stack here because you're just like, I want to trust the rainbow sheet for once for whatever reason, which, by the way, for the podcast people, it is the best expected goals game on the night by a mile. Both teams are actually scoring at 5-on-5 as well over the last 10, but they're also getting great goaltending. So it's a little bit like the goals don't look great, but it's not really because either of these teams are not putting the puck in the net. What I would maybe do is do something like Gostisbehere plus Ehlers or Stahl, and then play like Gunther, Hayton, something on the Utah side, because I do think that Utah would need to really get there in order to really push Carolina to do something special. But obviously they could just win 5-0 and that could be that. But I think I would try to do a Utah driven game stack more so than the Carolina driven game stack. Cause like you're saying, these guys are just too expensive for what they do on a nightly basis. And they really don't even have the sort of ceiling that we're looking for. All that often. Colorado heading into Montreal. I did not check their lineup on Wednesday night, so what are we?
Did
what
it
are we
ever even get posted?
Great.
I looked. I tried to look a couple times, but yeah,
got posted at 7:33.
Perfect.
Very helpful.
Just God intended.
Just exactly when we needed it.
There's 2 Makars. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my god. There's too many fucking T's in Arturi Lekkonen's name, and I never remember which. There we go. Okay, I was right.
The king of spelling and pronouncing names. So
yes, top 6, all that matters. Don't worry about the bottom 6. No one cares about the bottom 6 in Colorado. No Ross Colton, so even more minutes for the top 6. I'm literally just gonna get rid of all these names. You don't need them. Who cares? Olofsson on the top line at the moment, 4,300. I should see how owned he is on this nonsensical day of game action. Yeah, like 50-ish% in smaller field. Anyway, people are not going to slip Olofsson by you. I again think he sucks. He's 4,300. Like, what are we doing?
Mhm.
Yeah, he might score, but if he doesn't score, he fucking murders your lineup. And last time I checked, he's not on pace for an 82 games or 82 goal season.
82 goal.
So
Yeah.
yeah, any interest in Colorado here heading into Montreal?
I think the interest is just like what's McKinnon's ownership going to be here. 15 games. There's a ton of good spots we haven't gotten to. Some of them are going to be chalky, and those chalky spots are expensive. So when you look at it that way, is McKinnon going to come in sub 10%? Like,
Yeah.
is that? I think definitely. So what does that look like? Is he going to come in sub 7%? Is he going to be 4%? Like, how low do you think that could get to where you're like, how do you not play this upside? I mean, he is one of 3 players on this slate that could put it far and away into it's so far in the bed that you never wake up again. Like him, McDavid, and Matthews, and maybe Celebrini if you are the truest of slappies, and he's going to come in sub 5% potentially. And maybe I'm getting crazy here, but on a back-to-back against Montreal, a team that people think is good defensively, which might just not be that true. They seem to give up goals in bunches and blame the goaltending coach who they just fired. So I guess it's just that it's their fault. Someone else's. This team goes up 5 goals. McKinnon couldn't put the slate to sleep. Like that. That's why I'm going to give this a look. I probably just play Nachos McKinnon. I don't think I'm getting McCarron in that scenario, but that just might be enough. Olofsson is maybe not. I don't know. I kind of need McKinnon to be scoring the goals, not assisting. So I don't think I really have to have Olofsson in that mix. But that it's not anything more than leverage, and I think there's actually quite a bit of it here.
Yeah. I mean, at 5-on-5 with Olofsson, McKinnon's territorial edge is just nerfed. And I think that makes total sense given what we know about Olofsson. And instead of the 4.5 expected goals per 60, like he has with virtually everyone else on the team, it's like 2.8 with Olofsson for McKinnon, which is fine. You know, it's not like they're bad, but it's also not great. And he is 10.3K on a slate where McDavid's going up against San Jose. I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, it's certainly a what have you done for me lately scenario though, and like I don't know. You're giving me McKinnon coming off of 3 of his worst games of the year, and really only 2 goals in the last like 7 or 8 games. Still, I just again everything leads me to think that none of the slappies are playing McKinnon. The models are not going to be on him, or the optimizers or whatever you're talking. Like, I don't know. I've beaten this dead horse enough here. I am very much considering it. That's just the way it is, but I could, and hopefully, honestly, they go back to Lehkonen. They don't say anything until 3 minutes after puck drop. I'm fading Olofsson, and all of a sudden Lehkonen's on that top line. Give me that. Prayers up. That's what they do.
Prayers up. Yes, the Nate McKinnon experience. On the Montreal side, Texier, Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky, Kapanen, and Demidov. Let's check in on that last game just to make sure nothing went totally awry. But they did win in overtime, so everything looks fairly normal there. A lot of power play action, but no goals on the power play, shockingly. So Cole Caulfield continues his run of form. Another goal last game, 6,700. It feels like he comes preloaded with a goal. So, like, maybe play Cole Caulfield. I don't know. I could be convinced that Colorado on this long road trip on a back-to-back is not a team that I'm afraid of. And Caulfield averaging 15 DK points per game last 10. That doesn't include bonuses. So if he hits a shot bonus, etc., that's not factored into my little calculation. And he's not even 7K. So, like, he's certainly got 20, 25, 30 in his range of outcomes. We've seen him tally a hat trick.
He's just had 43.5. So
which is a lot more than 30. So it's really hard for me to say anyone on Montreal besides Cole Caulfield, but you also can at these prices mix in a Slavkovsky, Demidov, even Nick Suzuki. I mean, their power play is largely getting Caulfield open looks, But Suzuki's playing the sort of Sam Reinhart role right now, where right now he's shooting a bit more than in the past. You look at their shot chart with these 5 guys on the power play, and I think I saw it was like 20. I think it's like 26% Caulfield, 25% Suzuki. So like Suzuki is getting his looks as well. And his teams continue to potentially sell out to stop Caulfield, that'll leave Suzuki open in a very dangerous area of the ice. So I really like Suzuki Caulfield as a stack here. They're going to be chasing around McKinnon, but again, with Olofsson, I think that's a bit nerfed, and that doesn't scare me at all like it does if you say with Lehkonen and Nate House instead. So keeping an eye out for any changes, but that is my current maybe favorite of these, like, 13K-ish mini stacks.
Yep, I have no issue with it. Nothing really to add. I mean, it's Caulfield or bust for me, and I like that stack just fine. And Colorado has been showing signs of weakness, so attack if you'd like. Now we get to talk about
the home and home
garbage, trash.
Okay, we don't even have a live shot map on, or a live shift chart on Hockey Viz. So
2-1 if that helps at all.
I saw they scored a power play goal, which was I saw the Islanders scored a power play goal, which was strange.
Second power
play. Schaefer.
Yep.
Well, Palat from Holmstrom and Schaefer, so Schaefer just didn't change, I guess.
No, dude, D'Angelo started last game on the power play 1.
Oh my god, DJ, you're so sharp. Okay, then.
Oh my god, I know.
So what is that? The Barzell unit Schaefer, or is?
No, it's the other unit Schaefer, the one that scored, of course. Everything is stupid. Everything.
Okay, but
this game
who's the good player on this power play? They have 2 good players, Bo Horvat, Matt Barzell. Which one is playing with Schaefer?
Last game, it was Duclair, Barzal, Lee, Drouin, D'Angelo. And that scored. And then the second unit was Horvat, Boqvist, Schaefer, Shabanov, Heineman. Obviously, Palat took over for somebody. I don't even know. Honestly, I have no fucking idea what they did. It's a mess.
Okay. Close enough.
Palat was on the power play with Schaefer, Heineman, Horvat, and Holmstrom.
Perfect. That is okay, so that is all reflected here. Great. We did it. Fantastic. It's the fucking Islanders Rangers part 2 on a 15-game slate. Do you have any interest?
Nah, 0.
Okay. Let's check the rainbow chart. A little stinky as far as the shot rates, the Corsi pace goes, but there's been a lot of goals because, believe it or not, the Rangers are getting fucking torpedoed right now by anyone and everyone. Does that mean the Islanders on the road are a team you want to attack? Not at these prices. Board at 7,900.
It's
like, you can play Palat if you want. Like, that rule seems like it'll just exist for him. 2,500. You can do. I mean, you can certainly do worse. I don't really think you need a $2,500 player here, given we can just punt defense or something. But hey, I don't think there's ever a bad time to play a 2,500 power play 1 guy. Which, okay, you want to call a power play 2, whatever. I don't care. It's Schaefer, okay. So that is power play 1.
Yeah, definitely not spending up for the Islanders on this slate. And the Rangers aren't expensive, but I'm not playing them against, on a back-to-back against Sorokin. There's just no need.
God.
This team sucks.
Yeah. All right. Rangers power play was okay. I don't know. Basically, it could be Cooley, it could be Lafreniere.
Yeah, I thought it was Lafreniere actually, but whatever. Doesn't really matter.
In either case, you're getting a 4K player that's been fine with Trocheck. Does Lafreniere take a huge hit from having no Panarin? Maybe. But that's about my extent of interest. It's just figuring out which of these guys is going to be on the power play 1 and maybe considering them at home. It's going to be Sorokin, right? Because Rittich started tonight.
Yep, that's what. Yep, exactly.
Okay, so Sorokin and Quick go at MSG. Maybe yeah, whatever. I guess that's a little bit
Yep.
worse for the Rangers. I don't think you're seriously considering them anyway.
No, you weren't, and you're not, and you don't have to. And if you do, good luck.
Godspeed.
They suck.
Chicago,
Godspeed.
Pittsburgh. Chicago managed a shootout loss, right? Did they
Yeah,
win?
they
They
did.
lost.
But
Yeah,
no,
they
yeah,
lost.
the Bedard lost the puck on the shootout.
He dominated this game.
Yeah. Didn't
Four and a
finish it.
half expected goals per hockey viz to 2.5. Gus or other goalie Wallstead was under
Wallstead.
fire all night. It turns out playing everyone on your team for 28 minutes is maybe a bad idea if they're not really into it. And it sure did not seem like they had any answer for Connor Bedard. I'm just going to pull this up and showcase it on the YouTube. But they controlled the matchups, Minnesota did, and they had absolutely no answer for Bedard, Nazar, Teravainen. I mean, just shocking stuff for what should be one of the better teams in the league. So, is that just a blip? I don't know. But Chicago, that top line did play very well. They are 14.7K. Nazar and Teravainen are both under 4K. The only wart is that possibly they're not all three on the power play one. Let's just check that. And yeah, that did not change. Oliver Moore stayed on the top power play for some reason. So
Yep, didn't work.
That could change, but for now, I think you consider it against Pittsburgh, especially because Pittsburgh's without Brian Rust. But yeah, that's all. You're playing Bedard and friends or nothing.
Bedard is cheaper than Bo Horvat. Like, interesting. Yeah, I like Bedard. I like him as a one-off. I really could see playing him with Levchinov or I don't think you're forcing in much, but I could also see Frank Nazar. We were saying that's like, that's kind of the best situation, and like Frank Nazar is right on the on the edge of being power play one. It feels like he might just take over that role and he's over somebody else any second now. So
yeah,
you know what? I think I've convinced myself. It's Bedard Nazar.
They had an overtime power play that Nazar was on. The 4-on-3 with Bedard, but he wasn't on any of the 5-on-4 power plays with Bedard. So I don't know. I could certainly see taking a swing. Obviously, I think Frank Nazar's prospect profile is pretty solid. Bedard's obviously incredible. And yeah, you can.
And we saw it from Nazar early in the year before all the injuries. Like Nazar was really good.
Yep, exactly.
So, I like it.
On the Pittsburgh side, I was looking. I did not see any indication of how they were going to replace Brian Rust. He got suspended for 3 games for an awful elbow to Brock Besser's skull. I'm shocked it was only 3 games, but that's the NHL for you. They don't have a natural replacement unless they just want to call up the hell's the guy's name? Rutger McGroarty. Or do something like that because Chinikov, Novak, Malkin, Mantha, Kindle, Brazo seem pretty locked in. I obviously could be wrong, but we don't really know what they're going to do, either power play wise or 5-on-5 wise at the moment. Do you have any lean, any interest, any sort of thoughts on Pittsburgh here?
Yeah, God, I mean, it's really hard to say because I kept thinking they ran a practice with Rust in it because it was before the suspension, so that's why we have really no idea. I mean, who's going to take the top power play? Who's going to take the top line? We've seen a number of different guys from Novak to Mantha to Kindle. Like, I have no idea who it's going to be. My guess would also probably Kindle gets the top power play spot back. I'm hesitant to click the buttons. I would like to see the right punt kind of move up into this line and be power play one to make it affordable, because I do think it's a decent matchup, but I don't think it's anything I'm going to go crazy over. And Crosby at 8,500 is just something I'm not clicking. I mean, it's not going to happen. The volume's not there. The point production is what you're playing it for, so he's obviously stack only. And like I'm saying, like maybe there's something cheaper to make it happen, and Chicago isn't great, but I don't think Chicago is completely incompetent. This is like an NHL team this year, albeit with a couple guys in the lineup that maybe don't quite have it all the way there yet. But yeah, we'll see.
All right. Kindle, interesting. I think Gino could be the biggest winner here. He's been very good. You made him a cover boy. So
That I did.
I don't know if
That
anyone's
is a good
tracking
point.
I don't know if anyone's tracking the cover boy, success rate, but he's been very good. 11 expected fantasy points. Is it 10 games? I don't think he's played 10 games, right? It's
He
gotta be.
also got like a little bit banged up in the Vancouver game, but I thought was supposed to be fine, but something to keep an eye on.
Okay. Well, that would be devastating for the brand if he was actually out and you made him a fucking cover boy.
Would not be the first time.
um, in any case, very good stuff out of Malkin lately. Eric Carlson's back, 4,800 after a bit of a extended absence, so that could be a good price in the matchup. But I don't know, maybe just Malkin, Chinikov, and maybe you can play Novak, especially if we get a confirmed power play 2 role for him, and just say, yeah, I'm going to pay 12K for a Malkin line when he's actually clicking right now. Which, by the way, 11 expected, 12 actual last 10 games for Malkin. So save a bit of money there. Don't worry about the Crosby roulette on his line, and take advantage of the good matchup with Chicago. Winnipeg heads into Tampa after a 4-3 win in Newark, playing New Jersey. I don't think they will have as much success in Tampa, believe it or not. But what they did do was pretty fun. Connor Scheifele Velarde played all together, 18K for that 3-stack. I think it's been a while since we've seen them this cheap. So if you're going to take a swing, I think that was the time. But any other thoughts on Winnipeg?
Well, I'm win or bust. It's really not even a question. I still think Morrissey's a really good option to go with it. If you are gonna, I wouldn't dip my toes in on Winnipeg and one off something. Like it's jump into the deep end and pray, or don't do it at all. And Tampa is a situation where like I am the last person to say goaltending matters, but like when you give me Johansson or Vasilevsky, you're talking about two different worlds of talent. And if Johansson's in, it does give Winnipeg a little bit more of a boost. I just don't think I'm going up against Vasilevsky playing as well as he has. He has not allowed more than one goal in the past 4 starts.
Yeah.
And largely, I think that is just how good Tampa is, like in general. So it's not anything that I'm losing sleep over if it's Johansson. And I'm gonna, it's not like it's a windmill jam Winnipeg all of a sudden. Like, yeah. But what were you gonna say?
Yep. A couple chat notes. Shams has them splitting Chinikov and Rust before the suspension was announced on the power play. So Chinikov power play 1 seems imminent, which is very good news. That makes Chinikov Malkin a whole lot of fun, I think. And Tom is correct that the Gord shutdown line is absolutely insane so far this year, and I expect that to take out Scheifele, Connor, Velarde. So just tough stuff. Tampa has Hagel, Cirelli, Kucherov, Gensel, James, Gonsalves. Bottom 6, we mentioned Holmberg, Gord, Gergensons being very good defensively, but I don't think they're anything offensively. Kucherov and Hagel, of course, are of interest. They are very expensive, but quite productive as of late. Somehow Brandon Hagel did not get credited with the goal that sure looked like he scored at the end of the Utah game. I think I mentioned that live on the show, and I went to look because I don't know, but then I realized, I missed the cash line by 4 points, and Hagel's goal was obviously worth more than 4 points. So that was fun. A very fun way to lose a stupid double up that overlaid on Monday. But in any case, Hagel's been very good. Kucherov is obviously Kucherov, and Winnipeg sucks. So here we go.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Tampa side a good bit. I think it'll get overlooked. There's a ton of games we haven't gotten to yet, and there's a 3 very big chalk spots. that are going to be of interest. And I think one that isn't going to get overlooked in the next game either, with the matchup against Washington. And Washington's given up quite a few DFS winners as of late, including Tuesday night. There's been multiple games with over 5 goals against in the recent run. Charlie Lindgren's been an absolute, nightmare. Logan Thompson is not heading into the Olympic break looking all that fantastic, and the team in front of them, again, very banged up, just has not played well. I don't know what I would play if it was on Washington. I mean, Detroit's been good. They lose Edvinson, which is definitely concerning, but I think that they're just fine. And they're just, I mean, is there anything? I guess Thordiff is playing so much and conceivably getting some level of power play rolled out that, like, maybe that's the line you consider, but I'm probably just completely out.
Yeah, I mean, this is the line that's playing the most together. I wrote about them because I played them on Tuesday. So if you really want to see my thoughts about Washington 2, why don't you just go check that out, moods.bf.com once again. But that's what I would do. Chikrin obviously is a fine play, 6,300. They were missing Matt Roy and Sandin last game, so they played a boatload. I think actually Carlson and Chikrin were paired up, so keep an eye out for that. That could mean more minutes for Chikrin if Roy is out. But yeah, I'm not interested in these other guys. I don't really trust the roles of Leonard, McMichael, and Ovi's Ovi, but he's a bit more expensive than I want to spend on an Washington stack. On the Detroit side, we saw a bit of a shakeup after their loss to LA. 5-on-5 lines remain the same. Casper, Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Kopp, Kane, JVR, Comfort, Finney, Soderblom, Rasmussen, and Appleton. But the power play one, Kane is back on the power play in place of JVR. And Eric Gustafsson was getting power play 2 reps with Axel Sandin Pellikka. I think it was either Kopp or Comfort who came off. I'm not recalling at this exact moment, but doesn't really matter. Also noteworthy, Albert Johansson now playing alongside Mo Seider instead of JBD, who's down with Eric Gustafsson. So some changes that just concentrates the production more into the top 6 with Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, Kane, all power play 1. But do you have a preference between line 1 or line 2?
I still think it's line 1. I think in reality, I just would throw DeBrincat in with it. His volume is still absolutely insane. I mean, that entire 4-man isn't going to completely break the bank, and like I think you could do that without much of a hassle. There will be some eyes on Detroit. Patrick Kane tied Mike Modano last game, if I am recalling correctly.
Yes,
so he is 1 point away from breaking the record. DeBrincat has 3 5-shot on goal games in his last 5. So certainly a lot of upside in him. And I just don't think you want to leave that on the table. Like, you're stacking against Washington on a 15-game slate. We talk about it quite a lot, but on these massive, massive slates, I think more people just naturally get into like 2-2-3s. I think you go in with a 4 or 5-man. And this is one that it doesn't feel comfortable, but it just continues to happen against Washington where they're giving up slate winners. So if you're going to push the chips in, I don't really see a problem with it. It's not like everybody's going to be on this. And Detroit's been shooting the puck a ton. Larkin had 5 shots on goal last game. You get a very, very good upside punt in Marco Casper, who is shooting more and producing points and getting minutes now and seeing the second power play role that he's probably going to be a big factor on. I worry about leaving off Mo Seider with the way he's playing. I mean, 3 blocks bonuses in the past 3, but you need more than that at 5,600. So that's probably the guy that comes out. But if you make it a 5-man, you make it a 5-man, right? Like Detroit scores 6 goals. You could be skating your way to the top of the leaderboards while people are, have 1-2-man stack that fails and they go to 0 immediately. I like the idea of the stack quite a bit.
I definitely would consider that if both Roy and Sandin are out once again, because there are truly some guys in their lineup that you can pick on if that's the case. Let's go to Calgary at Minnesota. Calgary new lines today: Zari, Kadri, Pospisil, Coronado, Backlund, Sharangovich, Huberto, Frost, Greedon, and Farabee, Kirkland, Klapka. I'm not sure what the power play 1, power play 2 will look like. Obviously, it's not Zach Whitecloud on the power play 1, but I'm not. I don't know. I'm not playing Calgary against Minnesota, so any interest here?
No, zero. I would say that the biggest note here is that Kadri has officially, I guess, made it known that he is interested in being traded or allowing for a trade or opening up that to bigger capacity, which doesn't mean he's going to miss this game, but we just saw it with Panarin. So definitely a reason of concern that if you're playing this team and you're playing through Kadri, well, I think you might want to double check. There is the punt Zach Whitecloud of it all. That's an option. It's a big enough slate, and I certainly don't think people are going to be going insane for him. But the blocks bonus is just sitting there for the taking in a matchup. They should be getting pretty dominated by shots against. Whitecloud's playing 24,
Sure.
25 minutes. He's doing everything. So that's really the only guy that I think I'd click on here.
Yeah, no, thank you, no, thank you.
You don't have to. Don't if you don't want to. But the guy playing 25 minutes that has, he gets a point and a blocks bonus, and you're sitting real pretty, especially if you're spending up on some of the donkeys. Now on the other side, this is one of the first chalky-ish spots of the night. I think the least chalky of the main cohort of chalk, but nevertheless, Kirill Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Boldy, Eriksson, Ek, and Quinn Hughes. Very tough to play that as a 5-man stack, but maybe it's possible.
Yeah, they weren't aggressively owned with clearly the highest team total on Tuesday. And I don't think the prices are any softer. And there's even more high-end options on this slate. So I do think that Minnesota is going to be fairly low owned. I guess I don't really see how the math maths.
You can't play all of them. Who are you taking out?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm playing Kaprizov, Zuccarello, and just leaving off Boldy, Eriksson, Ek.
Yeah. Yep, I think that's fine. I mean, Eriksson Ek's been really good since returning, so I would understand it, but the volume isn't great there, and he's really just, he's shooting 50, well, actually there's 3 games in there, but he's shooting like, I don't know, 20-something% since returning or so. I don't know, it doesn't matter. The past 2 games, he has 2 goals on 3 shots. That was the point I was going to make. Yeah, I think you're probably right, but I would totally understand going the other way on this. Nothing against it, but Kaprizov, Zuccarello, Hughes for me. I agree.
All right, Brock Faber, the old 1.3 last game. Hate to see it. Florida heads into St. Louis. Is there a narrative here around someone? Slip in my mind, whatever. Luce Ryan, Lindell, Marchand, Vilmanis, Bennett, Kachuk, and Verhage, Rodriguez, Reinhart. I could not believe looking at some post stuff. Verhage, Rodriguez, Reinhart just ate Utah's lunch. I don't know if this line sticks though. Just given they lost and it wasn't really especially like, we got goalie. Like they didn't really look totally set, which I don't know. I guess maybe you expect that with Kachuk and Marchand just coming back from long injuries, but I had higher expectations for them, and they fell woefully short. Heading into St. Louis has got 17 question marks right now in their lineup, so
yeah,
I guess you could get there, but I'm pretty much out on this game.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I think on one hand, I'm like, what would be great is Giga stacking Florida, because that actually feels something that would fit, and kind of fits everything I'm trying to do on this slate. Bovinskis is still 3K. He's still power play 1. He's not doing anything. He's not getting any points or his highest total. I feel like since getting on that I think is accurate. He may have had one game that I'm forgetting about since being on the top power play, but he's not getting shots on net. He's not blocking shots. He's not getting points as of late, but that all could just turn on his head if Florida does actually put it all together. The issue with Florida, I feel like maybe I don't think we've been on since this has happened, but it just doesn't really feel like Matt Tkachuk has the chops for shooting right now. Like I actually just wonder if he is shooting, but his shot just doesn't quite look as prolific. Like I don't know what the injury was exactly, but he just doesn't seem to be 1,000%. And that is concerning enough, I think, where I just end up bowing out. But if I was to play it, I think I'm going the full power play stack, all 5.
All 5 dudes.
Yes.
St. Louis, who gives a flying fuck what St. Louis does?
Whoa. You can't swear.
Kairu's hurt. I think Neighbors is hurt. I don't know.
Yes,
but
Neighbors is
like
hurt.
just please,
day-to-day.
please don't play. Just you don't need to play St. Louis. San Jose.
So yeah, if you click on utility and St. Louis, their 4 most expensive players are day-to-day or on the IR. So their most expensive player that does not have an injury designation is 3,800.
Pavel Buchnevich, who has been a disaster this year. Great.
Yep, sounds good.
San Jose. Graf, Celebrini, Will Smith, Regenda, Wenberg, Toffoli, Eklund, Misa, Gaudet. I thought San Jose was scoring 12 goals last night. They scored 3 in the first 6 minutes of the game. It was 3-1. Everyone's heeing and hawing. The game cooled down. Vancouver didn't sustain anything. So it was just power plays from there. I think they scored 3 power play goals between the second and third period, and that was that for the chalk slam. But it was good enough for the field to win all the money with San Jose, Vancouver stuff. So joke's on me. But Celebrini, Smith, Wenberg, Toffoli, Klingberg, power play 1. Will Smith is 5,800, continues to score goals and get there because Celebrini is very good. I'm not going there against Edmonton. Just not chasing that. I certainly don't think this is a terrible matchup for San Jose. But Smith's price continues to edge up. I don't think I'm finding room for John Klingberg in a hashtag revenge spot. And yeah, I'm not playing San Jose, but I totally get it because Macklin's been incredible.
Yeah, I am also not going to play San Jose. This is a situation where it makes so much sense to game stack, but how the hell do you possibly afford it? You click on Macklin and McDavid and you're out of money immediately. Will Smith is still of value, so of course play him with Macklin, have at it. Not for me. I'm just not really a Colin Graf. I'm not gonna say I don't think he's good because that's definitely disingenuous. I just don't think that I'm forcing that in at his price. He is as expensive as Jonathan Marchessault. So no, thank you.
All right. Edmonton
McDavid and co are much more interesting.
Yeah, they have one line. It is $24K for RNH McDavid Hyman. Dreisaitl's 9,500. Bouchard is 7,500. And they're playing someone named Josh Szymanski in the bottom 6. Never, ever heard of this guy.
Because you're not a ball knower.
Showing up? Oh, Joshua shows up. He played in the OHL in 2020 at 18 and was fucking atrocious. Doesn't say anything about his draft status. So great. I hope he had a great time in the ECHL or wherever he was playing. Yeah. Do we need to tell you that the guy who just scored a hat trick is possibly a good play, or that the Matthias Ekholm hat trick was a complete fucking fluke? I don't think we need to tell you this. So anything novel on the Oilers?
Ekholm's day to day seems like
good point.
There's reason to believe he could be out anyways. I don't know if that inherently makes anybody way more valuable, but worth keeping an eye on. Wallman went from this is a punt to consider. I actually really like Jake Wallman at 3,300. He's fucking 5K now, immediately. It took a week. So that's gone. I'm just never, I'm a Darnell Nurse never guy. I just can't. I'm never going to click 4,500 Darnell Nurse. He's been 4,500, I feel for 7 straight years. And I just don't think the upside's there. And of course, once in a while, it is. So yeah, Bouchard, McDavid, or bust. I definitely want to click on Zach Hyman, but the price is really getting to a point that's getting difficult to stomach, especially because it just kind of feels like he's very easy to zero. He just isn't lately. Lately, he's just getting that jam in goal. And if it doesn't happen, he's going to have 8 points, maybe less. But if he's going to get these jam ins in front of the net, that kind of feel it's obviously purposeful. It's not that it's not, but I don't know. I think it's
figure out the guy who gets a hat trick and play them. seems like a good strategy.
I
Toronto
like that one too.
heading into Seattle. I don't think William Nylander's gonna play, but I think he's also close, so we'll see.
He's
Not
flipping the
positive either
bird,
way.
baby. He said,
Yeah, he's
"Love
having
it."
he's having himself a big and rich time up there in the press box. McMahon, Matthews, Domi took the majority of the offense against the Sabres. For what 32 actual DK points last 10, 29 expected for 18K. I don't know. I like Matthews. I think we can do this all
Yeah.
day. It's just, oh, Matthews is really good. Okay. Anyone else? Well, not really. Riley was suspicious chalk last slate. Don't
Yeah.
don't really know where that came from, but he was being projected as such, and it was like, okay, well then I guess that's a fade.
I think that might be my new favorite term, suspicious chalk.
I'm just like, what do they know? It was sort of the
Yeah,
mindset,
well,
and I was just like,
it
I'm
didn't
good.
work. What
No,
did he
it
finish
shouldn't
with?
have.
Like 3?
Yeah, something like that.
1.5.
So yeah,
My mistake.
I don't hate the matchup. I would love to see someone on the power play not named Matthew Nyes, but we're just never getting McMahon on the top power play. So that's that.
They get a power play. I will say this about Nyes.
Sorry,
he
what
did
was
score
that English?
No, it was Janlish. Nyes did score in the game, so it's hard to really be too negative on the guy. But like, he had a chance for a breakaway that he just got caught immediately by Bo Byram. Like, he has not looked 100% since that remember that one time where he was like, well, Nyes is gonna miss some games, and then he just didn't miss any games. Just was like, I'm gonna play. And I think I said something to Matt about this, and he said, well, wouldn't it? It's definitely not like hockey players do play through injuries to make their team worse. I just think that's what's happening here. And for whatever reason, I think Craig Berube, again, a guy that is coaching with the biggest cut on their head that I've ever seen anyone have in my life, is just rewarding that behavior when it's making the team worse. And like, Matthew Nyes is one of the best players on this team. He's one of, he is a difference maker in the league. But right now, he just isn't. And he's making this team worse. And they're just rewarding him for doing so. And it's stupid. Like, Bobby McMahon is a very, very, very good player that continues to do all of the things you want from a DFS perspective. Just play him and Matthews. I think you could go back to the Riley well. There's nothing wrong with it at 4,400. Power play 1. He just double bonus the game before with the blocks and shots. That's probably why people played him, because everyone's a donkey, including myself, who fucking played him. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think this is a totally viable game stack option because the other side's really cheap, and this game could be a donkey fest. Toronto can't keep the puck out of their own net. And on the other side, we have McCann, Beniers, and Eberle, just the clear top line, top power play. The top power play is actually getting all of the run. McCann is a difference maker. He is a elite player, in my opinion, in this league. Like, I've been a guy that's gone to the bat for him time and time again. I love to see it pay off. Is he going to get 4 points again? Probably not. But I really like Jared McCann, so I would go that way if I was going to go into the Seattle coffers again.
Yeah, the top line is clearly a great option here. McCann got robbed of a hat trick by the weirdest thing I think I've seen happen this year. They called a high sticking penalty, not a stoppage. That's normal. That's normal. High sticking penalty, 45 seconds before the goal, that negated the goal but didn't put the time back on the clock, and it negated all the stats. Only in the game that I game stack on the marquee slate of January does that happen. Only then.
Yep.
Only fucking then. But yeah, that was interesting. But they were awesome. Another great matchup coming in. They're 15K, 31 expected, 30 expected, 31 actual last 10. So exactly, in that price range that I want to target. Yeah, but Tom, they were up 5-1. Like, I mean, they dominated this game start to finish. I'm not too worried about that. Beniers is up at like 18.
I think, if it's a donkey fest, it's going to be a donkey fest. Like, they played the fourth line, and they don't always play the fourth line. So, and just, we're not to the point yet, but like, we're getting close. Like, especially for Toronto, it is do or fucking die time. Toronto cannot lose this game, and Seattle is right on the precipice of being in the playoffs or not. So It doesn't matter that much, but it matters a little bit. So especially for Toronto, who cannot lose this game and let others, put them further in the rearview mirror. Anyways, we move on to the final two, and we're on a good pace. So I will keep us going with another one of the hee haw stacks of the night. Everybody, sponsored by Donkey Breath. Matt, tell
I
me more
don't
about
know if we
Anaheim.
have. I don't know if we have updated lines on Anaheim, but Troy Terry practiced today, so that's good news for them. I am not seeing anything, but
while you look, last game
anyway,
they lost 7-4. Beckett was not the hat trick game. He did have 2 assists. It was the Granlund hat trick game, all on the first power play.
Yeah.
They played a combined 50 minutes. Seneca and Granlund.
Okay, great. Seneca has been awesome. 5,700 Cutter playing on that power play. Feels pretty obvious what to do if you want to play Anaheim here. But yeah, we're looking for lines. We're looking for Troy Terry where he slots in and everything else, because if Cutter gets frozen off of the top power play unit for Troy Terry, then obviously that's a huge deal. But Q's playing the guys who are rolling, I think, is sort of the moral of the story here.
Yeah, it won't take a rocket scientist to know who to play on this team. Just play Cutter, play Beckett, and honestly, I depends who's in and out. Like McTavish is even day to day now, so there's
I don't think he's I don't even think he's with the team.
Yeah,
because they've been on the road for a while and he's not played, and they sent him back to Anaheim. So
I think honestly, you just play those 2 wingers no matter what, and I could be convinced to even take a peek over at the Jackson Lacombe situation, or maybe go down to Owens not playing. I don't know. Whatever. I'll think about it and find the wrong answer.
Don't think too hard. Vancouver practice today was weird. They didn't run lines. I don't know if Tom Willander on the power play 1 was a real thing, because Hronek just scored on the power play 1. And if he wasn't at practice, then that would be obviously meaningful. I'm certainly missing someone, but Lekkermaki at 3K is a very good option. Yeah. He finished with 4 shots last game, but was getting quality looks, getting set up 5-on-3, for example. They just kept feeding him. That's his role. We talked about him from the AHL, and he somehow Pettersson, DeBrusque were like 20% owned, and Lekkermaki was 8% owned. I don't know if that was a fear thing or he's just being underprojected or what, but like I think that makes Lekkermaki a great play, because I was worried he would be 15% when I saw Pettersson at 20% being projected just by virtue of stacking and the computers, and it didn't happen. So maybe that's net positive. So whether it's Willander or Hronek, not really interested in either one at their respective prices. So anyone else in Vancouver you want to mention?
Nope. You mentioned the players that matter. There aren't very many of them. We can finish this off. Dallas, Vegas, a marquee matchup by talent, but a kind of maybe a tougher one to actually sink your teeth into in DFS. I know that I would side with the Dallas side of things if I was going to stack this game. I'm more interested in Dallas than probably the average bear. I think they're just a very, very good team. I kind of like the idea of playing like Robertson, Rantanen, Johnston. What?
This game is by far the worst Rainbow Chart game. There's no redeeming quality of this game, which
perfect.
Yeah. That's tough.
I don't hate the idea of stacking Dallas. I hate the idea of stacking Vegas. I would just, to reiterate, I would just play like Robertson, Rantanen, and Wyatt Johnston and hope it's a donkey power play fest for them.
This is partially true in all cases, but the only way this game becomes a shit show for fantasy is if there are 10 power plays. Because both these teams have such dynamic power plays and are so power play driven at the current moment.
Agreed.
Thomas Harley might be back. Just we're checking in, but 4,700, not going to be played, but I think he might be back. we'll keep you updated. On the Vegas
we need a
side,
Thomas Harley meter because it seems like he's back quite often.
yeah.
But is he really
On
back this time?
the Vegas side, Smith, Eichel, Stone, Dorofeyev, Marner, Bowman, Barbashev, Hurdle, Kolasar. I don't remember what the fourth line was, so I'm just getting rid of it. Any interest
It
in
matters, I'm
anyone
sure.
here?
No.
Great. Top stacks, guarantee goals.
Top stacks, guarantee goals. We keep this to an hour and 15. The under absolutely smashes on that one. Yeah, there's 15 games. There is a lot of options. Last time out, you had Florida 2, Toronto 1. I would say that is exactly what I played in one lineup, and it didn't win. But Toronto 1 could have won. I mean, if you know, Toronto 1 actually was had a chance to. I've got to get one quite a bit of money. I was Minnesota 1 and Vancouver 2, but I kind of changed my mind on that and did the 3-man stack you mentioned, which didn't work. And Minnesota certainly did not get all the way home either. So not great. We were 3 for 4 on the guaranteed goals. I had McCann and Will Smith. You had Cole Caulfield and Marchessault. Really should have been 4 for 4. Marchessault was all over it. Just unlucky, but you know what? 3 for 4. Nobody is going to cry about that. Have I given you enough time to pick your first top stack of the night?
Top stack of the night. Montreal Canadiens. Nick Suzuki, Cole Caulfield, Ivan Demidov. We're doing it. The talent train is rolling through, and it's leaving with goals.
Now, I did see GA's comment from earlier about just me sticking with the Wild until I finally win money.
Oh, no.
And it could be the third slate in a row where I do that, but I'm not going to. What I'm instead going to do is be a brave boy and say Detroit won.
Very brave. Okay. Oh man. Realistically, I think Seattle 1 is way up there for me again. McCann, Beniers, Eberle, not going to mess around with Vince Dunn. Not going to try and cross power play notes with Brandon Montour. I like what Toronto offers from just the Matthews side of it all. It fits naturally with McCann, Beniers, Eberle. You don't need to worry about a Domi or McMahon or Morgan Riley type stuff. Like, I think those 4 players make a really nice game stack, and I'm sort of liking the way Seattle's been playing. So give me that top line once again.
All right. I mean, I'm just going to go Anaheim and say that I'm not sure what yet, but Cutter,
Yikes,
Seneca, and a third guy yet to be named. I'm going to consider defense. I'm going to consider a lot of things. I'm just going to say Lacombe for now just to make it easy. I think you could make that happen, but I'm just going to write Anaheim down and know that it is Cutter and Seneca plus one of their line mates, and it's probably not Granlund. So, yeah, 3 for 4 on the guaranteed goals last time out. Let's go 4 for 4 this time. I could kick things off, I guess, with I'm not looking at pricing, so I'm just going to back myself into a corner and then figure it out from there. And I am going to say, man, I was literally like going to say Kirill Kaprizov, and then that legitimately can't work. Okay, do you have someone? Because Kaprizov's not going to fly.
Igor Chinikov.
I like it.
3,300, likeliest guy to be top power play with no Brian Rust, per Shams in the chat earlier, and playing on a line with Evgeny Malkin that is currently clicking, and I don't think they'll break it up.
That is not only good and fun, but good and fun in that order. Give me one Mr. Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett? All right. I have 7,700. I'm going to play 7,500 Evan Bouchard, guaranteed goal. That's right. Defenseman goal inbound.
Yep. I went 64. So that leaves me with 46. 4,600 utility. Oh, I am sorting by only Anaheim players. Not actually a bad idea, to be honest. I mean, if you want to talk about a team that should score a couple goals, I don't mind that one. You know what? Give me Gabe Belardi.
Velarde
Velarde.
in Tampa. Okay.
You said
He's
Chinnikov and
bold.
how am I already blanking? You was like 7,300 and it was, what was it?
Bouchard.
Bouchard. All right.
All right.
Close this down. I got to make a phone
Let's
call.
get out of here. Thank you all for listening. Nothing this weekend. No newsletter Friday. It's a 1-game slate on Friday. But we will be back next week as usual. Obviously, hang out in the Discord for the Saturday stuff. I should be around. But yeah, nothing official. And the best place to find out if that changes is also in the Discord or on Twitter at Fake Moods. You should go read my newsletter recap of the Tuesday slate, moods.beehive.com, where I recap the $360 contest and the $100,000 winner. That was not me. And DJ's at DJ_Mitchell94. Anything else you want to add?
Go Sabres.
Alrighty. Thank you all for listening. From Doug, from DJ, from myself. Have a good slate, everybody, and we will see ya.
You're sitting there looking like an idiot.
Well, is that any different than normal?
This is the first time I will admit was unbelievably wrong.